Hey Chris, can you say something so I know that my headphones are working?
We can hear you, and hopefully you can hear me.
I can.
Great. Sarah, you want to let Mr. Ecker in?
Sure thing.
Great. Mr. Recker, are you able to hear us? Mr. Recker, can you hear us? Mr. Recker, if you can hear us, we cannot currently hear you. You are muted. There's your video. Your audio is currently muted.
Okay.
Great.
Can you hear me?
We can
Yes,
hear you
I can
now.
hear you. Thank you.
Great.
Sorry for the
No,
delay.
that's okay. Well, welcome everyone to our meeting. We have, prior to the start of our agenda meeting, we have our interviews for our boards and commissions, which we do every January. We have, let's see, it looks like 7 people that we are going to be interviewing for various positions. First, we have Mr. Perry Recker, who has signed up to be applied to be on the Shade Tree Committee. So Mr. Recker, if you would just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would like to be appointed to this committee.
I've been living in Swissvale for 5, 6 years now. I've been involved with the Shade Tree Committee for several years without being officially on the board. I have a background in tree care, and that grows out of my environmental concerns involving climate change. Um, and I received training. I think some very good training when I was living in Illinois, um, in the Chicago area. So I'm from there. I'm a certified tree keeper, and I also did the uh, tree Pittsburgh um, training for tree tender or tree. I get the two confused, but I have two kind of certificates. Um, I've been mostly interested in residential shade trees, but recently I've gotten involved with the Regent Square Civic Association and in taking care of trying to upgrade and take care of the trees that are in the commercial district. They need some special kinds of attention. So been working on improving their tree pits there. Uh, I've met and talked with Jordan and about some things, and that's sort of on my agenda for the near future. Um, uh, I've enjoyed working with Barbara Knowles. I see her smiling, and it's been fun working with Gib and Julia and some of the others who've been on the tree commission in the past couple of years. So I look forward to doing more of that. Any other questions people might have?
Any other questions from council?
I have a question. Thank you so much for your interest in this committee. I wanted to know what excites you about Swissville's future.
Uh, Very good question. I like the diversity, the mix of different kinds of people. I like what I see as strong elements of what I would call a new urbanism type of approach to community development with attention to environment, human scale type things. Um, and I, I, in some past municipalities that I've worked in, where there's been tree commissions, uh, much of it depends on relationships with borough management, and I've had mostly really good relation experiences with Swissville borough management. So I think Swissville's got its act together. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but I think it's really a good community that's kind of on the rise and trying to do a lot of things right.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Recker, for your application. Thank you for your interest in this position. We will briefly touch on this. This is part of our agenda. And then next week, we will be making those appointments at our legislative meeting.
Okay.
So,
And then I'll hear from you after that, I assume.
yes, we
right?
will. The office will reach out to you one way or the other.
Okay.
All right.
I'm free to go.
You are free to go. Thank you so much for your time.
So long. See you later.
See ya. All right. Our next is Margot Kimball. Is she? Oh, she's already in. Margot, can you hear us? Can see your video?
Can you hear and see me?
I can hear and see you.
Perfect.
Welcome. This is Margot Kimball. She has applied for a position on the rec board. Margot, if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself and why you are interested in this position.
Sure. So my name is Margot Kimball, obviously. I've lived in Swissvale for a couple years now, and I have been looking for ways to get more involved in the community because I feel it's really important to do your civic duty and be involved in the community. And as someone who runs an organization who uses the Parks and Recreation system, both in Allegheny County and City of Pittsburgh, I understand the importance of the upkeep and maintenance and just funding for Parks and Recreation in general. So when I saw that the opportunity was available, I wanted to jump on it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing that. Are there any questions from the rest of council?
Hello, Margot. Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. So based on the experiences you have, what do you think you can glean to that position?
So not only do I run Pittsburgh Girls Who Walk, which really focuses on utilizing the parks and recreation systems we have available to us to build community. I am also a supply planner and data analyst in my full-time job, which I think could help with reviewing budgets, making sure that maintenance happens because it's a large part of the job that I have now, and duties related to those tasks as far as the upkeep, maintenance, and duties similar to the parks in the Swissvale Borough.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Jeffrey.
Yes. Hi, Margot. Thank you so much for your applying to this committee. Just one question. What excites you about Swissvale's future?
I think that Swissvale has so much potential, both on, the opening of new businesses and, really committing to businesses that we already have in our borough. Swissvale is a community that really invests in itself, and I think that pattern is going to continue within our borough, and I'm very excited to witness it and hopefully be part of it.
Well, Margo, I really appreciate your interest in this. Ms. Grabowski, did you have a question? I see that you unmuted.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay, just making sure. Just to be kind of transparent with this rec committee, I think they've had trouble finding their voice and, kind of what their thing is over the last few years. And so I'm hopeful that any energy and ideas that you are bringing to the table would might be able to help jumpstart that a little bit. I know a couple of years ago, we had interviewed someone who had talked about kind of walking groups, and nothing really came of that, but maybe you and her together could get something going there. I think especially in an age where we're dealing in a lot of communities with a lot of loneliness in people. That's a very easy way for folks to get together, get some exercise, so good for their physical and mental health, as well as form relationships in that. So
yeah, that's actually a big part of why I started Pittsburgh Girls Who Walk. Can't believe it. We're coming up on our 4th year.
Yeah.
But yeah, walking is just a very low stakes, accessible to so many people, and it's obviously free to go for a walk. So as people head into a time with a lot of economic uncertainty, which can take a toll on physical and mental health, it's just even an hour of your time once a week. I think it's so important to just go for a walk, even if you just want to put headphones in. It's just something that almost everybody can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for your interest in this. We will make these. It's an agenda item. I don't know that we'll talk about. We'll just basically state, hey, we had interviews. And then next week we will make our decisions and make those appointments, and we will reach out either way on this. But again, thank you for your interest and willingness to serve this community.
Absolutely. Thank you all for taking the time to talk about this.
Absolutely. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hi, Casey. Next on our list, we have Casey Hausner, who also has applied for the rec board. Casey, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are interested in this position.
Sure. So yeah, my name's Casey Hausner. I live on Schley Avenue. I've lived in Swissvale for about 4 years now. I am employed by Ross Township as their Parks and Recreation Director. I've worked in the field for about 5 years now, 2 years as director. So I'm walking distance from both parks in my neighborhood. I have a great deal of experience with throwing events, raising money, writing grants, a lot of connections in Parks and Recreation, just from the work that I do. And I'm just looking for a way to give back to my own community and get more involved.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your interest. Are there any further questions from council?
Hi, Casey.
Hi.
Thank you for your application. Just one question. What excites you about Swissville's future?
I think that I see like I've seen some community events being added, and I think it like excites me to see more of that happening. I think like especially nowadays, with kind of like the troubling things happening around us, it's more important than ever to connect with each other. So it excites me to see like more of that connection happening and like more of an effort to be made, like being put into these big community events and things like that.
Any other questions?
No other questions, but Casey, I just want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us. And I guess I do have a question. Do you have any ideas so far of what you think you would be able to lean towards that position?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a certified playground safety inspector. I've written a number of grants and done a number of park projects where I've planned from start to finish. I've solicited like sponsors for money for events and projects. And I feel like just with that experience, I could do a lot more with Swissvale not having a Parks and Rec department, just like getting the funding needed to kind of like upgrade some of those facilities, maybe just contribute my knowledge to throwing events, helping to kind of gain sponsors for those things so we can make them, better for the community. I think I just have a lot of knowledge I could add. And now that I've settled into my position, I just feel like I have a lot more time on my hands to do things like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your application. Again, as I read it, I was really excited to have you apply for this position. As I just shared, the previous interviewee also had applied for rec committee, but we do have 2 openings for that. And what I shared with her is that over the last few years, I think the rec board has had some trouble finding their voice and kind of what their thing is, how they are pursuing the community, whether it be through the woman we just spoke to talked about. She organizes, walking groups, Girls Who Walk. In the past, we had done some other events down at Memorial Field, things like that. And so I'm hopeful that with your expertise and the energy that both the 2 of you would potentially bring to this position, that it would help to kind of fill that critical mass for something to come out of that. And I mean, you even talk about grants. I think Greg will probably announce it today that we were awarded a C2P2 grant for Memorial Park. It's a matching grant, so we kind of need to find what those match funds are going to be to be able to use it. And so I'm sure that expertise will be well used. So thank you so much for your willingness to serve the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask, do you all like have any sort of vision for what recreation looks like in Swissvale? Like, kind of what's your vision, and is there any sort of like guideline or like end goal you're looking for that we can work towards?
Yeah, I would say we probably have a lot of vision, but not a lot of money.
Sure.
So vision
That's usually the
is
case.
broad. Funding for that vision is scarce.
I get that for sure. I feel like that's one of the main, you go to any Parks and Rec gathering and they're like, what's your biggest problem? And they're like, we need money, you know? So I totally get that.
So I'll share that, gosh, this probably was good almost 10 years ago now. The rec committee put together some mission and objectives, and the mission was to encourage a sense of cohesion, unity, belonging, pride, and appreciation for our community of Swissvale, and to provide space for healthy alternatives for our youth to develop character. That was, and again, that has not been revisited in a number of years, but that at the time was what the thrust, the goal, the purpose of the rec board was, or at least identified itself to be.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so next steps, we will make these appointments next week, and the office will let you know one way or the other after that.
Sounds good. Well, you know, if there is anything I can contribute, even if I don't get a position, please let me know. Like, I'm really happy to help with that stuff. And, you know, I've got a great deal of like knowledge that, you know, I would love to contribute in some way, whether in a position or not. So, yeah, I look forward to getting to know you all more. And I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Wonderful. Thank you. You as well.
All right. Bye. Have a good
Take
one.
care. You too. Good evening, Diana. Are you able to hear us? I can see you now. Can you hear us?
Turning on my audio
perfect.
now. Can you see
Wonderful.
me? Can
Yep,
you hear me?
we can see
Great,
you.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks for taking some time to sit with us tonight. This is Diana Sasso. She has applied for a position on the Human Relations Committee. Diana, I'm going to ask you the same question that I've asked the previous applicants for the various boards and commissions, is if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself and why you would like to be appointed to this position.
Okay, well, sure. Thank you again for inviting me to speak with you this evening. I am currently actually a member of the Human Relations Commission. I was appointed to the commission in 2023 when it was first formed, and I was elected as the vice chair in 2025. I have found this committee, the commission, to be an important thing. I think it has a very important role to play in our community right now. And I think it's been a very, very well-functioning committee. We took, you know, the idea of a Human Relations Commission with the statutes and whatnot and turned it into a practical and working committee. So in this last couple of years, we have created, you know, our intake form. We've got our website going. We have our process for how we handle cases. We've been out there in the community publicizing the commission and its work. And I think that, you know, it's been a very successful committee, and I would like to remain a part of it. I think that the commission has really two roles to play. It might have seemed when people first formed the committee that it was the need was more for a place for people to file complaints and to have the complaints aired and adjudicated. But as I've worked with the people on this committee, and I have to say, there's so many people with so many different talents on this committee, it really has been a pleasure to work on this committee. I think that there's an educational role that's important for the committee. And to me, that's very appealing because of my own background in education. I work for Duquesne University. I feel like what we want this committee to be is a resource for our citizens and a reminder to our citizens that it's not just enough to be welcoming. Swissvale is a welcoming place, but it's a place where our citizens are respected and where their rights are respected and where they have recourse. And this commission is a visible, tangible sign of that. And, you know, I would like to be a part of that and be a part of spreading the word about that in the community.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions from council?
I don't really have a question, but I want to thank you for the service that you've had since 2023. And I can't agree with you more that while we are a welcoming community, there's got to be a safety net and apparatus for our residents to seek the support that they need to make sure that their rights are protected. So I thank you and the rest of the entire commission.
Thank you.
Your work is invaluable.
Diana, it's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Shanae.
Diana and I both served on the commission together. We started the work together, so it's really great to see you continuing it. So my question should be no surprise because we spent so much time together for the last 4 years. So my question to you is, what excites you about Swissville's future, Diane?
About Swissville and its future?
Yes.
Well, let me think about that for a second. You know, I have lived in Swissville all my life. To me, it's home. And I think that what I would like to see for Swissville is to be a vibrant community, a community where people want to be, a community where people, they want to move here, they want to live here because it is neighborly, because it's friendly, because it has all the resources that they need. I think it's been that. I think that, you know, maybe people are a little more concerned about it now. Oh, you know, they're worried, well, we can't get across the bridge and things like that. But I just think that, you know, we're kind of on the cusp. The bridge is coming back. The borough building is coming back. We have a lot of, you know, good, hardworking people. And, you know, that's what makes me excited about Swissville.
Thank you.
Well, Diana, thank you so much for your interest in this position. We are going to make those appointments next week, and after which time the office will reach out to you
All right.
for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, and I hope you have an enjoyable evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. All right. The next applicant we have is Josh Eisenfeld. Josh, I can, there now I see you. You're going in and out. Can you hear us? You are currently muted.
Yes,
All right.
you can hear me now though, right?
I can hear you and you can hear me. So
Cool.
Josh has applied for either the Planning Commission, or he has shown interest in both the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board. So Josh, I'm going to ask you the question that I ask all applicants, which are, if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself and tell us why you are interested in these positions.
Yeah, for sure. Well, other than my name, I'm Josh Eisenfeld, and I have been living in Swissville for around 4 years now. I live on Columbia Avenue. And the reason I want to either participate in the Planning Commission or the Zoning Hearing Board is just my understanding of and work in helping communities understand and plan their places and work to decide what goes into their communities is what kind of drove me to focus on these two positions. This is my third time, I think, applying now. So, you know, clearly dedicated to trying to be part of this. And I think that, you know, if I look back at my other two times applying, some of the things I didn't talk about, because I know I talked about, you know, that stuff in my applications as well, is I come from a line of electricians. So I've worked for a long time understanding the electrical code. Starting off as probably too young to say, because I probably shouldn't have been working. Yeah, and I think the other thing that would be important is in my work, I work a lot in ArcGIS, and so I understand mapping and planning. But yeah, just really care and see the importance of municipal planning and code. And I know it's an overlooked part of the municipal process, but it's a really important one. And often it is something that's focused on, you know, when something is coming in or some changes need to be made, sort of like reactive. And I want to be a proactive part of that. And yeah, I just want to get involved. So.
Thank you so much for your interest and your persistence in that application process. I want to open it up if there are any other council members that have questions for Josh. Go ahead, Barb. Or Ms.
Um,
Grabowski, sorry.
that's all right. Am I remembering that you worked for a time with Fair Shake?
I did, yeah. I worked for Fair Shake, and now I work for Earthworks, which is a non-legal side of community support. So yeah, but a lot of what I learned about municipal planning code came from my time at Fair Shake.
Because I am a retired attorney from the Office of Chief Counsel with the DEP, so I dealt
Oh,
on a
fun.
few occasions with your colleagues on different sides of the caption, you might say, some appeals. But I was impressed with the work of the organization, which is, you know, but others may not know, try to provide resources and support for people who had enough income or resources to not qualify for pro bono assistance, or where the issues they had really weren't suited to a pro bono representation and could not afford the bill of a larger firm or an expert when you really needed an expert to help you figure out how to solve the problem or identify the problem. So I really respected that organization and the principles it brings of folks that don't always get attention because we're in the middle. You know, not wealthy enough to qualify for that support.
Sorry if you're hearing something. I'm at an airport right now.
Oh, great. Good luck.
So.
But I did want to talk to you. I'm a neighbor over on Delaware, and I've been here for 30 years. And what has struck me is the persistence of folks who have been here from the time U.S. Steel knocked the feet out from under us. And the efforts the Mon Valley as a whole and Swissvale in particular have taken to come back and be a viable community. And what I have seen on the positive side is younger people, professionals coming to Swissvale. So now on my street on Halloween, I have to buy candy because we have kids trick-or-treating. But at the same time, I think that represents a bit of a challenge because now you have the Swissvale folks who are maybe working class or skilled trades and maybe more modest expectations, but have a lot of history and a lot to contribute in terms of what was here and what can be built on, and maybe some different expectations of a different sort of generation, if you will, of folks. I'm wondering if you had any thoughts on how best to recognize and support all of Swissvale in, you know, planning and thinking for our future.
Yeah, that is a question that kind of gave me a little bit of the chills. I think that it is kind of like core to who I am, you know, coming from a working class background, but also, you know, being involved in nonprofit work, maybe more the blue collar, sorry, the non-blue collar, I guess it's white collar. I don't even know what I am, but you know, I work from home. I have a bit of a non-conformist sort of style of work, very different than like my dad and my grandpa were. But it's given me a unique perspective. And also that work at Fair Shake, I think you fall into the situation where you're dealing with people who don't always have the same same opinions as you, but you both agree on the fact that you want what's best for your community. And I think it is always going to be part of the municipal process that you're not going to have people that agree on everything. So I guess the shortest answer I can think of is you try to find where there's common ground, and you understand that I think the large majority of people in this neighborhood wants what's best for this neighborhood. And if they don't, if there are people that don't want what's best for this neighborhood, I think that's where you can start to make some decisions and start to see some things. And and oftentimes that's happening when people coming from outside of the neighborhood trying to build new businesses or asking for, you know, variances in our zoning codes. So I think that the answer is you focus on what you agree on, the common ground. And there's always a lot more of that than you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all of that. Are there any other questions before I move on?
Josh, just one last quick question. I also hope you have safe travels wherever they may take you. What excites you about the future of Swissvale?
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm actually in Denver right now visiting my brother who just moved out of Pittsburgh. So, what excites me? I think it is all of when you walk down the main drag or just through our residential streets, the places that could be, there is a lot of potential. All those empty lots that some people look at and say, oh, look how things aren't here anymore, and talk about what used to be. That to me is the potential of what we can be. And it also kind of makes us a target in some ways for people wanting to come in. They see land that they can get, they see they have their own ideas of what they want that to be, and it might not be the same stuff. So those conversations and all of the potential, I guess, is what excites me about this. Like in particular, these two committees, I think they kind of overlap in that sense. To talk about what's going to be here and what our neighborhood's going to look like in 10, 15 years from now.
Well, Josh, thank you for taking the time for your application, your time with us tonight. We will be next week making these appointments, and so the office will reach out to you following that.
Thank you, and thank you all for whatever part you played in keeping us all sane in this crazy storm that we just had. So,
thank you. Thanks, Josh. And again, safe travels.
Talk to you later.
All right, take care. Goodbye. All right, our next applicant is Lisa Whitney. Lisa, can you hear us? You are currently muted. Lisa, can you hear us or see us?
Oh, she's logging in on another device, so let's try let her in.
We'll try that. Lisa, can you hear us? You are currently muted if you can.
Yeah, there we go.
There
Sorry.
we go. All right. No,
I don't
that's
know
okay.
why it wouldn't let me unmute the other one. Sorry about that.
That's okay. This is Lisa Whitney. She also has applied for the Planning Commission. Lisa, the question that I ask every time is if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you are currently just finishing a term on Planning Commission, so you've been through this before, but if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be reappointed to this position.
Sure. So I am an architect. I have a practice in Swissvale. We do a lot of this type of work. So I feel like I have a good basis of understanding for the types of things we go to a lot of planning commissions as an architect. I have lived in Swissvale for a couple of decades now, and I really like to see Swissvale grow, and I like to do what I can to help the community. And it feels like when I can do it with a skill set that I have, it just feels like a good fit.
Are there questions from the rest of council?
Hi, Lisa. Quick question. What excites you about the future of Swissvale?
To me, because I have a business in the business district, the potential of more businesses coming into the district, I feel like we have done a pretty good job of developing a zoning code that works really well to allow that type of development. One of the things that we did when we developed the code that hasn't come to fruition yet, but I think could, is we did a neighborhood development district along the busway. So that area is not very well developed right now, but it has the potential to be. And the idea with one of those districts is it's intended that where there are bus stops, there could be restaurants, small grocery stores, the ability to have reasons for people to get off the bus there. And so I do feel like maybe, especially if we can find a way to tap into some Main Street grant programs, we could see the potential to bring some businesses in. Of course, the residents are important too, but I feel like we already have a pretty decent residential community. We just don't have a whole lot of good commercial business opportunities right now.
Thank you.
Are there other questions for Lisa?
I would just thanks, Lisa. And I think what you just said really fits nicely with the transportation plan that we enacted last year that spoke specifically about creating a neighbor way, because people will come and hang out and take a walk if they know they can stop and get another ice cream or a drink or something, and that they work together, people walking around, biking around, strolling around, and a place to go, and vice versa. So I was really happy to hear what you just explained to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at East Liberty and the busway where it comes through East Liberty, I think you can see people get off the bus. I mean, it's Shady Side too, but you have to walk a little further, right? People get off the bus there. You can walk to grocery stores, you can walk to restaurants, you can walk to bakeries, and then you can get back on the bus and then go to your destination point. So while it could be for Swissvale residents, if they're destinations, it can be for people anywhere really that follow along that busway route.
Right. And I think we worked really hard, as I recall, to extend the busway from where it original stopped in Wilkinsburg to go all the way out to where it ends now, almost in Rankin.
Right.
Right.
No, I think that's true. And then when we redid the zoning code some time back, we put a district, a neighborhood district that's meant for, it pretty much allows you to develop without some of the parking restrictions and other restrictions that come in the commercial business district intentionally, so that that area along the busway gets developed in a more like small business friendly way.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for your time. You've, I mean, shown the expertise in this. A lot of that conversation, I think, I wouldn't say it went over my head, but I tracked. No, it's good. It gave us a window, I think, into some of the work that you have been doing and would like to continue to do. So thank you for that. Thank you for your interest and time with us this evening to share a little bit about yourself and this work. Next week at our legislative meeting, we will be making those appointments, and the office will reach out to you after that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Take care.
See you guys.
Bye.
Our next applicant is Summer. Hi, Summer. You can hear us. This is Summer Ray. She also has applied for the Planning Commission. Summer, the question that I ask every applicant is if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself and why you would want to be appointed to this position.
Yeah, thank you. I actually moved here from Seattle a few years ago, and I am in the Gen AI field. I've been in the biotech space for a long time. And so now my focus is working using artificial intelligence for medical research. I own a small, growing, very, very small real estate investment company here in Pittsburgh. I moved here sight unseen and fell in love with the city. And just coming from Seattle to Pittsburgh, moving here sight unseen, I moved to the Beachview neighborhood, and I had seen, I love Pittsburgh, but I've seen a lot of things in that now happen to an area when it's not cared for well and taken care of well. And so moving to the Swissvale side of the city, I really feel like it's poised. It's an up and coming area. It's poised in a geographical position to grow in a really positive way. And I want to make sure that it grows in a great direction. Coming from Seattle, I've also seen what gentrification can do to areas. So I know it's a really delicate balance of the right kind of growth without pushing out the existing community. And I think that I'm really passionate about that. I live here. I want to invest here. I want to see it grow in the right direction. And so when I saw that there was a position coming up for the planning committee, I got really excited about it. I've never done something like this before. I would have a lot to learn, but I would be really excited to help if I can lend a hand.
Well, thank you so much for that interest. I'll open it up to the rest of council if there are any other questions for Ms. Ray.
Hi, Summer Ray. What a beautiful name at this time.
It's so distant, right?
Just wanted to know from your perspective, what excites you about the future of Swissvale?
Wow, I just see so much opportunity here. I see a really strong community. I in Seattle, I lived in Seattle for a decade, and I can't even tell you what my neighbors' names were. When I moved here, I have this adorable little old lady a couple houses down that told me the entire history of the neighborhood for like the last 7 years that she's been alive. I know my neighbors, we bring each other cookies, they come over. Like, it's just I've never had this kind of community before, and I've never felt really roots anywhere. And so I came here not knowing what to expect, and I just fell in love with it, and I'm gonna stay. So that's what I really like about Swissvale, and I love that it's super easy to get to anywhere from here. I know people complain a lot, but like I said, after seeing in Beachview, I don't feel like that the leadership cares as much as they do here. I think I see people in Swissvale are doing things right. I think the trash, it's simple things like the recycling is collected every week. Like, to me, that's huge. I mean, there's there's a street sweeper, there's all kinds of infrastructure that's happening that I think is going in the right direction, and I want to see more of that. I hope that makes sense.
Any other questions? Well, Summer, thank you so much for taking the time to apply. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us this evening. At our next meeting, so next week, our legislative meeting, we will be making those appointments, and the office will be reaching out to you.
Okay. Wow. You sure you don't have any more questions for me? I feel like
I think we probably do, but we have other things to get to, and I know I intend to follow up with you on some of your ideas and questions. I think I could qualify as the little old lady down the street at this point, but
hey, I'm working my way there myself, so I will see you on that street soon enough.
okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I see someone with the name Brian just joined. Is this Sheila? You're muted right now, so we can't hear
They're
you.
with the Planning Commission.
Oh, they're with the Planning Commission. Okay.
Yeah, Brian and Kathleen Kelly.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sorry, Brian. So that's for later in the meeting. Is that what we're?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, they're the Planning Commission applicants.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Sorry. We had one more person who had signed up for interviews. Looks like she's not here. So, Greg, if you can have someone from the office reach out to see if she would want to come next Wednesday, just to we've done that a couple of other times with folks.
Is that Sheila?
That is Sheila, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we will do that.
Well, that concludes our interviews for the let's see, pull up my agenda here for our boards and commissions. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:13 p.m. Let's go through our roll call. Dr. Alfonso Wells.
Present.
Ms. Grabowski.
Present.
Mr. Haynes.
Present.
Dr. Jeffrey.
Present.
Ms. Stribling.
Present.
Ms. Swartzwelder.
Present.
And Mayor Swartzwelder. She is here. I see you. I can see your mouth moving. All right. Next, we have public comments. Is our public commenter on tonight?
He has not entered the waiting room, so he doesn't seem to be here.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think that if he does not show up, if someone can follow up with him as well and remind him that he is welcome to next Wednesday's meeting to sign up for public comment there. Sound like a plan? Any problems with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, let's bump down to our agenda items. The first agenda item we have is discuss appointing members to various boards and commissions. We just had these applications. Mr. Batchy, I don't know if you have anything to add to anything we heard or information we need for our decision-making next week.
No, not much. We will make this an agenda item for next week. I will put on the agenda blank spaces. You can insert whoever you please into each one of them. We do have less applicants than we have positions open. However, the Planning Commission, we do have 3 applicants for 1 position, but maybe with some creative juggling there of the positions, we can accommodate everyone and get somebody appointed to, something they're interested in the borough.
Sounds good. Any further discussion? All right, let's move on to item B, 5B, which is discuss vacant property recovery program applications. We have three of them, 7542 Short Street, 7508 Calumet Street, and 7430 Irvine Street. Mr. Batchy, is there any other information you want to share?
Yeah, so we have three applications, as you stated, which is kind of odd. Normally we get one every 4 to 6 months, and this month we have three, so that's great. Two of them are actually vacant homes. One's at 7542 Short Street. It is actually the second unit from the left of a 6-unit row house, which is great. Somebody wants to take this on and rehab this, because if the borough ends up tearing it down later, it costs a lot of money, because we would actually have to create sidewalls on both the other units that would be left. The 7430 Irvine Street, that's one of the things Mr. Ansel had put some of his ARPA funds aside to create a fund for sheriff sales. That was a property we were going to target for the sheriff sale. However, this applicant had come forward and is ready to purchase it now through the VPRP. So we're going to take that money and put it somewhere else. But this is a pretty decent house. It's been abandoned for 5 to 7 years. It's not in that bad condition yet. So these are two properties that will save off the demolition list in the future. And then the one on Calumet, the applicant just wants to take and acquire the side lot next to him to have a larger lot. But all of them, none of these people that are applying for these have any kind of property code violations in the Swissvale or other boroughs. So, we're good to go. These are seem like reputable people from what we can see, who are going to do these renovations on the two homes and, like I said, get them back on the tax rolls, paying taxes, and off our demolition list. And we should get a couple dollars also for the property tax that's owed on all of them back through the county.
Thank you, Mr. Batchy. Any discussion from council?
I just want to say I'm really happy. I wish that we would see more of these applications coming through, and I think it's just a matter of people don't know that it's there. And I mean, this is a great opportunity, it being brought up here, but also everyone on council, anyone that watches, spread the word about this option to acquire a side yard or to acquire a property within the borough. If you are purchasing a house, you have to pay, I believe it's the assessed value of it, according to the Allegheny County website, and the same with the vacant lots. So you can get a great property for a little bit of money in most cases, and I think it's great for the community. Like Greg said, we're going to get these back on the tax roll and potentially get a little bit of money back for us as well.
I know I spoke to one of my neighbors when everyone was out walking on Westmoreland on Wednesday. It's the only place you could walk. She lives across the street from a big white apartment building. I think Mr. Willem, you know about this one, is up for sheriff's sale and a mortgage foreclosure. 1945 guy bought it. One of the LLCs bought it, started work, didn't think to get a building permit, walked away, and so on. She's been looking to buy that and the vacant lot next door. So I would just, she seemed pretty knowledgeable and a little frustrated because this one's been up for sheriff's sale now and she missed maybe the chance. But I did want to confirm that the side lot program is just that. You can buy the lot next to you. And I think it's come up in the past, someone wants to buy the lot across the street from them, and that's not yet covered by the side lot program. Am I right?
Well, under the vacant property recovery program, they give preference to the people who live on each side of the property.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't get a buyer who comes forward who lives on each side of it, they will entertain an offer from someone else, maybe someone who lives across the street or outside the neighborhood. Two of these actually, the two houses are not the neighbors buying them. They are investors. One lives on Raymond Street, right outside of Swissvale, and the other one lives in Plumboro. And he does, he flips houses as his living. So they are from outside the community, but most property owners are within Allegheny County. Most of these purchasers. and they do give preference to the side lots.
Because this is someone who lives across the street. She knows what she's doing. She's been here. She wants to invest in this building. And we talked a little bit about ways to get resources and just making sure she has, I think she's as knowledgeable as anyone, judging from our conversation. But I did want to check and see if it's a vacant, if the side lot is just that, it's a side lot. There is no across the street lot program at this point.
Well, I think what Mr. Bacci said is they give the preference to the side lot, but it doesn't sound like she is out of that is outside of her capability of acquiring it if no one else is coming forward. Am I understanding you correctly?
I guess
Mr. Bacci?
actually I have the answer to my question. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
And I'll follow up with either Clyde or Greg later.
Yeah, if you run into her again, tell her to give us a call and we'll put her in touch with the county, with Mr. Allmeter or Mr. Englert, who run that vacant property recovery program, and they can run through all the process with her, and let her know if she's actually eligible or not. And if she is, how she could go about doing it.
Perfect. Thanks.
And Barb, just so you know, that particular property, the vacant lot she's looking at, I spoke with her already. It's not it's not tax delinquent, so it doesn't qualify under the VPRP.
Let's wish for it to be tax delinquent. I'm sure there'll be. That's good to know. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Great. Well, let's move on to item 5C, discuss a subdivision request on Denison Avenue. This is the one that Brian and Kathleen Kelly are on for that I mistook for earlier. So Mr. Bacci, if you want to introduce.
Yeah, thanks. Mr. and Mrs. Kelly own 7309 Denison Avenue, where their principal residence is, and they purchased the property at 7311 through the vacant property recovery program a number of years ago. So this is a success story that we have already had through the VPRP, where they've taken a tax delinquent property and unmaintained property, and they're paying taxes on it and maintaining it. So what they want to do at this point is they want to combine the parcel with their home on it and the vacant lot into one parcel, so that they only have one tax bill. Also, so that if they want to add on to the house in the future, they mentioned, they said that was something they might consider doing. You can't do it over the property line, so they would remove that property line by consolidating the two lots into one. They appeared before the Planning Commission on I think it was the 15th of January, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of this with no conditions. It was a unanimous recommendation for approval. And under the municipality's planning code, they meet all the requirements of the subdivision land development ordinance for something like this. Under our ordinance, they also meet all the criteria. So basically, council has to approve this. They can't, you can't hold it up because they're entitled to a decision within 90 days. But under the MPC and also our ordinance, if they meet all the criteria, that you have to move forward. So we would be asking you to make an approval on this at next week's meeting.
Mr. and Mrs. Kelly, I see you're on the meeting. Do you have anything that you'd like to add to this before I open it up for discussion from council?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. We just want one tax bill so we don't have to worry about two separate ones and being confused. And like he said, we have some projects for like the distant future where we'd like to be able to cross the lot lines, and you can't do that if it's two separate lots.
Makes sense.
So what you're asking is to invest in your home and the borough.
Yes.
I see so much objection here with this with us, right? Thank you for coming to speak with us. We appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Any other discussion or comments from council? All right. Well, we will. That'll be on the agenda next week for us to make that vote. Mr. and Mrs. Kelly, thank you so much for your time, and I mean, you are welcome to enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
So to us.
Go to the meeting next week. Is that going to be at the school?
It will be at the school, yes. And it's up to you whether you would like to be there or not. You are welcome, of course, to be there. But yeah, that is when we will be making our vote.
And is that at 6 or?
That'll be at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Have a good evening.
You as well.
Too.
Item 5D. Oh, Sorry, was someone saying something? Okay, I didn't know if I was cutting someone off. 5D, discuss grant funding priorities for 2026. Mr. Batchy?
Yeah, Representative Salisbury holds a meeting of public officials and employees usually every February. It's usually toward the end of the month. This year it's on February 12th up at the Bricklayers Union Building. Basically, it's at the bottom of the hill going up into Eastmont in Wilkins Township. What she's looking for at that meeting is for people, the municipalities, to come to her with lists of grant funding priorities for the year, also legislative priorities and such, that she could take forth, that would benefit multiple communities in her 14 district or 14 community district. So what she's asking us is to bring forward a list of projects forward to her at that meeting, and those are priorities. And last year I'd prepared a list of basically of projects that we'd like to do, that I had supplied to everyone here earlier in the week. But we want to prioritize what we're looking at. Right now we're working on the Wilkins School, we're working on the food pantry, we're going to be working on the transportation improvements, with through from the active transportation plan, a number of other things. As you mentioned earlier, Mr. Ansel, we did receive a $150,600 grant from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources from their Community Conservation and Partnerships program. They call it the C2P2 program. However, that's 50% match. So we have to come up with, we have to find the other 150,000 to do that. So what my recommendation is for our priorities is to fund that match, would be one of the priorities. We also have an LSA grant in, we submitted for about $940,000 for paving and road repairs throughout the borough. And also put in there to put it on the radar, keep it on the radar for our legislators, that we need money for South Braddock Avenue to do something. That's about a $1.8 to $2 million project to pave that from end to end, and that would be shared with Edgewood. Now, Edgewood, we calculated this when we did the other grant on that. Edgewood owns about 27% of South Braddock Avenue, and we own 73% of it. So, we'd be looking to share something with them. And the other thing too is we had requested funds last year to rehabilitate the ladder truck at the fire department, because it is a 2009, it's 17 years old. In the NFPA standards, if you keep a fire first line apparatus longer than 15 years, it calls for a full rehabilitation for it to be a frontline vehicle. And we had put an LSA grant in for that. And the people at the LSA program told us that it didn't qualify because that is maintenance, not rehabilitation, what we were proposing. I mean, we're proposing basically to strip this thing down and rebuild basically everything. Chief Wilhelm and myself disagree with that. We think it's not maintenance. Maintenance is changing the oil, putting new brakes on, changing the tires, greasing it, lubricating it, stuff like that. This is definitely not maintenance. But Chief Wilhelm had a conversation with Representative Salisbury last week. And in that conversation, he was talking to her about that. And she said, definitely bring that forward as something, that she could possibly get funded through some program or other. Hopefully this year, but open to any suggestions, recommendations, and then I'll redo the memo that I sent you last week, which was from last year, put the priorities up front, and then other projects, that we're looking at down the road.
Council have any thoughts or opinions on that document?
Yeah, of these, are we able to identify which ones we received and which ones we didn't? Are you able to at least highlight that for us? Not now necessarily.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't want to put you on
Absolutely.
the spot.
Yeah. There's about 4 or 5 on here that we received since last year. So I'll highlight that and I'll get it out to everybody tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
I had the same question, so
A lot of them spark a lot of interest, so I'm very excited.
Great minds, huh?
Something.
All right. Ready to keep moving?
Yes.
All right. 5E, discuss Black History Month awards. I don't know if Mr. Batchy or if Dr. Alfonso Wells wants to introduce this one.
I'll defer to Dr. Alfonso Wells. I placed this on the agenda for discussion because February is Black History Month. We usually do some award presentations at the first meeting in February, which will be next week, and just wanted to go over, what the process procedure be, and explain, what it is they're going to be doing this year. So with that, I'll defer to Dr. Alfonso Wells.
Thank you, Mr. Batchy. Yes. So ever since we started the Black History Month celebration here in the borough, one of the things we like to highlight is borough residents that are doing great things in the world, not necessarily in Swissvale specifically, but they are Swissvale residents or they work in Swissvale. We like to highlight what they're doing so that people can see and look up to people in the neighborhood. It's as simple as that. So this year, there are 3 people that we found that we think are worthy of being acknowledged. I think it's really important because sometimes the people that you see every day, you don't even know that they're doing great things around you. And it's very important for us to acknowledge this. So next week we have, I think, Mr. Ansel sent out a list of the people. We had 2 people. There's another person on the list. He'll send that out again. One is a borough employee. I like to choose borough employees. I like to look at what we're doing in the borough, who's been here for a long time, who's really invested in our community. And so this year we're going to have someone from the fire department, which I think is important as we highlight service. Everybody who's being highlighted is doing some type of service in our community, which I think is extremely important. So next week we're going to highlight that, and we're inviting them to our meeting so you can meet your neighbors and see who's doing great things in our community.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Dr. Alfonso Wells. Yeah, if you could just, I know I had disseminated the 2 of those 3 names. If you can just pass that 3rd one, you or Mr. Batchy, to me, so I can, or you can send it to everyone as well, just so that we have a chance before Wednesday to take a look at that. And we look forward to honoring them in person on Wednesday.
Thank you.
And I assume someone's reached out to them to make sure they know to be at the meeting on Wednesday.
We definitely talked to some of them last week, so we're going to keep reaching out to make sure that everybody knows and has cleared their calendar for that time.
Absolutely. Any other discussion from council? All right. So that will be, I guess that's not technically an agenda item next week, but that will be a presentation next week. Item 5F is discuss PennDOT maintenance agreement for parkway mowing.
For the last probably 15 years, at least 15 years, the borough has been maintaining the area around the parkway on the Monongahela side of South Braddock, south of South Braddock, between the parkway and Monongahela Avenue, and a couple little parcels around there that belong to the turnpike. It's turnpike right away. They have been paying us for the last 3 years $3,605 to do that, and the agreement expired at the end of 2025. So they're asking that we enter into a new agreement with them beginning in 2026. It's a 3-year agreement that would pay $3,826.02 annually. It's not a lot of money, but in the past we've used it to pay lease payments on equipment, like when we bought a new Toro 9 or 10 years ago, the big 6-foot Toro mower. This basically paid for it. Covered the payments. So, I mean, we're not planning to buy anything this year. We have nothing budgeted to purchase as far as lawn maintenance equipment. But that's one of the things we've used the money for in the past, and it's just something it's been done for the last 15 years. And we get it done more frequently, with more frequency than PennDOT would, to try to make it look, one of the entrances to our borough, to try and keep it clean.
Can we make sure we confirm that it's not a violation of the CBA that they have with AFSCME 13?
What does that stand for?
AFSCME, the American Federation of State
No,
County
the shorthand before, CBA.
Collective Bargaining Agreement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would that is PennDOT represented by AFSCME 13?
Yeah.
Bob, Mr. McTiernan, do you have any knowledge or understanding of that?
Well, I see what Mr. Haynes is concerned about, but wouldn't that really be their issue, Mr. Haynes? Wouldn't they either have some kind of an understanding with the union, and it would be up to them to grieve it rather than us to pursue it? What do you think?
Well, I'm trying to figure that out.
I mean,
Being that I have both hats on.
Doesn't interfere with our ability to do it and to be paid for it.
I know, but I don't think we should enter into something that could violate a collective bargaining agreement. I'll do some background on my end.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I can reach out to the contact there that I deal with for the agreement and see what his response is. You said it's AFSCME. Is that Council 13?
Yeah.
Or Local 13?
AFSCME Council 13.
Okay, I can reach out to him. See.
And let me know.
If you reach out to,
I'll
if you
check
reach
as
out
well.
to, we can see if we get the same answer.
We have two different sides that we're talking to, so let's make sure. We may have a blanket agreement on exits. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Any other comments or questions about that? All right. Next is 5G, discuss COG sponsorship.
So every year, the COG, Turtle Creek Valley COG, asks if municipalities will provide sponsorship to help defray the cost of two items, which is the annual dinner, which is February 20th, 2026 at the Edgewood Country Club. If anyone is interested in attending, I think Sarah had sent that out already, but just make sure you get that into her in next week or so, so she can make the reservations. But they asked for sponsorship to help defray the cost of that and their hospitality room at the ALOM conference. And I sent out the request from Ms. Settlemeyer, who's the director of the COG. And if you are interested in doing that, there are 3 levels of sponsorship. And we've got so much paper here, I can't find that one right now. But there's 3 levels of sponsorship. I mean, if that's something you're interested in doing, here it is.
Yeah, it was 1,200, 600.
Gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah, it's $300, $600, and $1,200. In the past, when we've done it, she did up these a little bit. I think last year, in the past, they were 200, 500, and 1,000. In the past, when we've done it, we've always done the lowest amount of $200, which is now $300.
Greg, you mentioned in your email that in the past there have been some differing opinions about whether we should sponsor the event.
There have some people on council have objected to in the past objected to the use of funds for that, and then others have objected to the fact that we didn't do it. So just wanted to put it on the agenda, make it a council decision, and whatever council decides, I will send a check or not.
Okay.
Well, I will say I was one of those voices that was against it in the past, in particular, just feeling that it didn't feel right to use borough resources for what, this is something that I benefited from, drinks and snacks, and, there is some opportunities for networking and whatnot there. I think what we ended up doing last year is that we kind of
took up a collection.
Yeah, we took up a collection, and I'm happy to contribute to that. Like I said, because I benefited from it. But personally, my personal opinion was that I was opposed to using borough resources, taxpayer resources, to fund that.
All right. I mean, I can say I attended the meeting last Thursday. It's the newest board meeting, the live, and I was in person, which was great for me to see folks and for them to see me and know that Swissvale will continue to participate in COG and by association, the Tri-Cog Land Bank. And they did mention the request for the sponsorship was pending. And I know one thing they mentioned is that one big topic this year at that conference is blight and code enforcement, and those very issues that all of us are always trying to find the right best answer for. So it certainly benefits Swissvale, I think, and it's a pertinent topic and issue. And it seems to me, if we're asking for $300 and we've spent far higher amounts on other activities or projects or things that don't directly benefit Swissvale much at all. I am sort of struggle to see why $300 to go to an event where we can participate and be part of on a topic that's pertinent and important to us should be a problem.
I don't think we're not paying to go to the event. That's just one of the event
No, the
rules
$300
that's
is as I understand was explained by either Chris or Mr. Batchy, was the cost of a room to sort of meet and greet and other and things. Yes, I'm not talking about the cost to go. I
Yeah,
understand
no,
separate thing.
yeah, no. So it's you know,
It's a
I know
sponsorship.
it's all the COG members sponsor the room, right?
Right.
And
So
all
I mean, I can
right.
read it
So
if
all
it
people
helps.
go right. No, no, no,
So the
no. All the
$300
people
is
go
to
into the
sponsor recognition within our hospitality suite.
yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying that it's you don't have to do the minimum. You could do the medium or the higher amount. It's just that they try to get you know, we're a cog of municipalities. So everybody's trying to get everybody to participate in it because everybody goes to it.
Right.
So that I mean that's great. I personally don't have a problem with it. I don't actually I can't eat any of the snacks or drink any of the stuff in the room. So it doesn't benefit me at all in terms of consuming anything. But I do go in there and I see people and I love talking to them and I like meeting with folks. And I know that our folks end up in there quite regularly. So they are there, relatively speaking. So this will be interesting to see what we do. I do think we should do something because our people do tend to be in there, relatively speaking. So whether or not it's the lower level or the mid level, I don't think we can necessarily afford the high level. But we are in there, relatively speaking. So and I do think that maybe taking up a little collection is also a good idea to benefit from it, relatively speaking.
I have a question. What do you mean by taking up collection?
They'll have to tell Angela, tell them what happened
Yeah,
last
so
year.
we just took up a collection for anybody who was interested and found it on their heart to donate. As far as the actual sponsorship, it's actually new for me hearing, but I mean, Amanda does do some amazing work, and the COG does some amazing work for the community in the municipalities that we serve. Um, and which is why, Greg, I even offered to have her come in. Maybe you should, Barb, consider her coming in and talking to council to let us know exactly what the COG represents and what they do for all of the municipalities. That will be helpful in that aspect as well. I wasn't in the room a lot either, but so Dr. Jeffries, you would have to know in order to go, which is why I went last year because I wanted to see. And I saw, and it's okay. It's a great time, a great weekend for people to learn. And you know, everybody doesn't participate in the after stuff, and that's okay. I'm not one of those people, but I still allow other people to have fun. And if they want to have fun, if we can contribute that, to me, it doesn't have to be the large, you know, amounts, but I think $300. I don't know, Greg, where would we be getting this funding from out of the budget? If we were
Just out of the general,
That's
just
out
out
of
of the general fund.
yeah, I would be in support of it because it is a great and amazing program. But last year we just decided to donate because we've never went. So I don't know what was going on previous years, but Amanda does an amazing job. So I would definitely be in support of contributing to that.
I
I
guess
think
my question.
sorry, Dr. Jeffries. I think in previous years we have supported it, and one time I'm not sure if we did or didn't one time, but I think it's been supported, relatively speaking. But you know, once again, I think what y'all have to go over next week is looking at how much you want to sponsor it for, and if people want to do personal donations. I think that's what's at issue, so that Mr. Batchy and the staff know what to contribute, because you know they have to get all this stuff in advance, right? So
Right.
it's not like everything has to be planned out. So you can't wait till the last minute to decide whether you're doing it or not. And we need to direct our administrative staff so that they know either to cut a check or not cut a check or send something, you know. So everybody needs to have clarity so that there's not a last minute unclear something that people can then, say, oh, well, we didn't think. So this way, everybody has clarity, and then everybody knows what's going on.
Well, we all have the letter now, so we can all read the letter between now and next
Ms.
week.
Grabowski, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Dr. Jeffries tried to speak a couple of times and
Okay.
keeps getting interrupted. So let her say something, and then you can go ahead and jump in with whatever you're going to say.
Yes, thank you. My question, with the clarity I would like to seek is, what is this partnership or relationship beyond this particular event? So, kind of where's I'm unclear. Seems to
I
be
think I think
something.
it's, let's not confuse the COG, which is amazing, and the sponsorship of the hospitality suite at the ALOM event. So COG is the collaborative of what is it? Committee
Turtle Creek
Congress
Valley
of Neighboring
Council of Governments.
Congress of Governments. Yes.
Turtle Creek Valley Council of Governments.
Council of Governments. Okay. And Greg, you jump in. I mean, we use it a lot. It's very helpful, and it's a great program, but it's very different. Sponsoring, being a member of the COG, which we are, this is different than sponsoring the hospitality suite, which has treats and libations at the ALOM conference. So this is separate and apart from being part of the COG.
Yes.
But it's not just about the snacks and libations that are there. It's about sponsoring the camaraderie that can be created by going and hanging out in these rooms. And that's, like, I think that we kind of get lost on the fact that, like, yes, there are things that some people don't agree with, but I think that I'm for doing the sponsorship because I think that's, like, we participate in the COG. I think that we should participate in the sponsorship of their hospitality room and annual dinner, which I think a number of us are going to be going to. And that's, for me, that's kind of like, that's it. You participate in these things. And like Barb said, $300, we've spent way more on things that are not as, however she said it, but sorry, Greg, you started getting into what the COG actually is and what it does and why we're a part of it.
Before you jump into that, Mr. Becci, can we let Ms. Grabowski, because I told her she was allowed to talk after Dr. Jeffrey, and we kind of derailed. So let's let her go, and then you can circle back to the COG.
Yes, I will just say, Dr. Jeffrey, if you have a chance at some point to read the letter that was attached to the materials for tonight's meeting, it does provide a nice outline of the core activities and functions of COG. And I think you can also go to the website they have that will show the different activities they have. I can also say, from being at the meeting last Thursday, they are very much involved in code enforcement, and they spoke highly, frankly, of Greg and Clyde in terms of your work in code enforcement and just trying to address blight issues. They have set up a system to pay bills that is an alternative to the system we use. I think that's still in its nascent stage. As others have said, it's just a great networking. And I hope that gives you at least a good background on what COG does. And I will just let Greg take over from here if there's anything else to add.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Grabowski. Yeah, the COG is it's a regional organization that represents 20 municipalities in the Mon Valley. It stretches basically from Wilkinsburg, Swissvale, Edgewood, Rankin, out to Plum, Penn Hills, Monroeville. They have a number of programs that they do, that they work on, code enforcement, billing, stuff like that. But one of the things we use them for is they pull in a lot of grant money for us. To apply to the county community development block grant program, you have to go through the COG. They used to allow you to do it on your own. The county did. Now they require that you work through the COG on those. They also have gotten us some demolition grants in the past. We have one that's pending right now that we've received. We're waiting on the contracts. We also have a grant right now to replace the sanitary sewer on Schley Avenue, which we're waiting for the contract from between the county and the COG to be executed to move forward on that. Just a number of programs like that where they administer grant funds, help us acquire grant funds. They also have a managers committee meeting, which I attend every month, which, we do, it's basically, it's an open forum we do have an agenda, but it's an open forum for us to get together and discuss common issues as managers and communities, work and help each other out and work through issues. They also have a SOAR Vector program where, we use it for 3 weeks every year. They come out, they send their truck out, and it's $400,000 vehicle, which we can't afford to buy on our own, because we don't have we wouldn't need it for the whole year. But we share it with them. We pay about $15,000 a year to use that for the 3 weeks, which is about $5,000 a week. Private companies about $3,000 a day. So it's about a third of the cost to use their truck, and we use it primarily for preventive maintenance on our storm sewers and our sanitary sewers, where we know there's always problems. There's certain areas we clean every year, and then we try to work our way through the borough. So about every 5 years, every sanitary and storm sewer is cleaned out. But it's a reasonable cost program for us. They're also looking into some other things. Amanda talked about doing some kind of regional trash program for municipalities for collection, because Waste Management's trying to get out of the business. For these small municipalities, if you don't have the sidewalk cart tipper, the automated tipper, they don't want to do business with these municipalities anymore. So I've been working with her on that to see if we could come up with anything, that would work for for one or more municipalities. As everybody's aware, we collect trash for 4 municipalities now. But if there's a better way to do it through the COG or something, I mean, we gotta be open to it, because we're going to be more self-dependent in the future with trash and recycling. We're pretty self-sufficient now. We're pretty self-sufficient now, but most of the municipalities aren't. There's going to be a big issue here coming with trash, not necessarily for us, but for our neighbors. So, those are the kind of things the COG does. It's a good regional organization, well managed, and they have their hands on a lot of things that one of the things we just participated in too was the Verizon franchise renewal. We get 5% of all the Verizon FiOS fees in the borough. And that contract was just up for renewal. So we went in with 14 municipalities this time, saves us about 30% on the contract. So on the contract negotiations. So there's a lot of good things like that the COG coordinates, and there's always something new coming up.
Yeah, thanks for that overview, Mr. Batch. I think it is helpful not just for newly elected officials, but also for the public to hear, because we talk about. I mean, we have a report every month for the COG, and I think it's a good reminder of all the different ways in which we are connected. That we, while we do have a lot of self-sufficiency, we're very lucky as a borough, but we still it's important to have those relationships with other boroughs in similar regions, size, etc. So thanks for that. The purpose of this agenda item was to discuss the sponsorship, not of the COG itself, but as Mr. Haynes said, is for the hospitality room, which is at the ALOM conference later in April. It's a place after hours, after the conference is kind of done for the day, that people can collaborate, can get together. There are snacks, there is other food, there is alcohol, there is non-alcoholic drinks as well. There's a lot of things like that people can participate in. It's open well into the evening. And so really what we are talking about now is I'm just trying to get a consensus of council so that we can give direction to Mr. Batchy, whether you would prefer to have a contribution from the general fund or take up a collection as elected officials to provide. I think it's important that we sponsor it, but it's how we sponsor it, through the general fund or through personal contributions. So I'm just going to go touch each person kind of from seniority just to get that feel so we can get the consensus and go from there. So Dr. Alfonso Wells.
I don't know, general fund.
General fund, okay. Ms. Stribling.
General fund.
Mr. Haynes.
Individual contributions, but
okay.
I'll go with the majority of what folks. I mean,
sure. Well,
We need to
that's
be
why
ca-
we're
yeah.
figuring out what the majority is. Ms. Swartzwelder.
Do general fund.
All right, Ms. Grabowski,
General fund.
Dr. Jeffrey.
General.
Okay, I would have been a personal contribution, but the generals have it. So, Mr. Batchy, you can go ahead and issue a sponsor from. And I think, I mean, are we good with the $300 level? That's what we have done in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Since it's a minor amount, I mean, it's not something that needs voted on at a public meeting. So, are we good? Just go ahead, cut the check
Yes,
in this week's bill
absolutely.
run.
Yes, just
Okay.
wanted to get that consensus to figure out where we were. Thank you.
Okay, great.
All right. Our last agenda item is 5H, discuss borough manager's contract. We, over the last couple of kind of 2-year terms with council, have provided a contract for the borough manager. I remember when I went through the newly elected officials course, they said that the average tenure of a borough manager is 4 years or less, just because of when you get newly elected officials, sometimes they want to clean house and want to change. And so we have in the past provided a contract with Mr. Batchy to give him some security in his job. We will be discussing that contract since it is contractual, since it is personnel, at executive session following this, but it is on here so that if we can come to a consensus tonight, we will have it on the agenda next week to officially vote on. So any conversation, we will have that conversation in private in executive session. Did I cover that well enough, Mr. Batchy?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our departmental reports. This is 6A, Police Chief Watson.
Good evening, everyone. I hope they're staying warm because it is really cold. I have nothing to add to the meeting tonight, Mr. President, in my report.
Thank you, Chief Watson. Any questions for him before we move on? All right, let's move on to fire. Chief Wilhelm.
I have a few things just informational. Obviously, we had a severe snowstorm. We were prepared for that. Having been the one that went through the 2010 Snowmageddon event and running the emergency management, we already had a template in the playbook. But fortunately, none of that had to come into play. Thank goodness. And just in general, though, if we have any of these types of events, the primary warming center or place for people to go initially till it's overrun is the fire department, because it has a backup generator. So we will have heat and electricity no matter what. But just to put that out there. The other thing is I want to elaborate a little bit on the ladder truck, just again, informational. When we got that ladder truck, we bought it as a demo and got a federal grant for it for $760,000. Unfortunately, with the consolidation of the fire apparatus manufacturers, that same truck today is between $2.2 and $2.4 million. So before the truck starts to deteriorate and break down is why we want to try to be proactive so that we can extend the life of that truck another 7 to 10 years at a fraction of the cost. We've been blessed to have that truck and we received it for free. In essence, we paid 35 of the 760,000 towards the original purchase price. So it's a necessity that we need in the borough, especially with a few high rises and mid rises and homes way up on hills. It's an integral part of our effort in providing fire suppression. Also, we had our annual dinner, as for those several members of council attended last Saturday, I think it was 17th, and just wanted to throw out and recognize some people who attained some longevity at our place. Pastor Eric Baldwin, who's our chaplain and also became a volunteer firefighter, was honored for 10 years of service. He's a volunteer. Our administrative assistant, Diane Amos, has been with us 15 years as of last year. These awards are all based on 2025. And we have another volunteer firefighter who also still serves as the vice president of the volunteer fire department, Jim Norcus, for 45 years. And Mr. Mark Lukac, who started as a volunteer, as a junior member back in 1975, and then worked 30 years on the career staff and is retired and still was a active volunteer in the organization. He was awarded service for 50 years and still kicking, still doing it. So we're thankful for all those people and the effort that they've put forth to make our organization what it is. Lastly, I just wanted to, two more things. I'm sorry. One is I will be meeting with the fire committee sometime soon. Mr. Batchy is sending out requests for a meeting. We have a few vacancies. We had a part-time firefighter who was from Butler who got a job paying more money part-time closer to home. He had submitted a resignation last month. And we had a shift commander who got hired in another department and got about a 25% pay increase. So I can't blame him for moving on for his family. And then we also just received the end of last week, another resignation from one of our fire marshal code enforcement officers. He's married to a physician and he works Monday through Friday, and her situation has changed at work and they still have young children. So he's not able to work Monday through Friday. He requested to stay on staff part-time to help fulfill our schedule. But at any rate, those things are coming down the pike. And then last but not least, there is a new grant that's available. Well, it's an existing grant for EMS agencies, but they expanded it to licensed advanced life support squads, which we are. But we're not eligible currently because we're not designated as the primary EMS agency for the borough. So as I gather more information, I will work with Mr. Batchy and Mr. McTiernan. We may need a resolution or an ordinance that establishes the Swissvale Fire Department as the primary EMS agency for the borough of Swissvale, and Eastern Area Pre-Hospital Services is the primary transport agency. That will enable us to get a $15,000 to $20,000 annual grant that we can use for operational expenses for our EMS program. Our license for the fire department is actually in the name of the borough of Swissvale, which is kind of silly that we have to go through all these hoops, but the bureaucrats create these programs and we have to fall within their walls, if you will, to have eligibility. So yeah, I mean, we can't be subservient to a regional nonprofit when the actual medical license is in the borough of Swissvale's name, but I'm trying to navigate. I just want to throw that on your radar so when it does come up, that you've been informed of it and the reason why we're doing it and it's why it's relevant. Because the vast majority of our EMS equipment we've got through grant funding, with the exception of the QRS vehicle that we purchased to cut down the wear and tear on the larger fire engines. The last major grant I got was $140,000 for new heart monitors and AEDs and other medical equipment. So we've been very fortunate. We want to keep doing that so we can provide that superior service, at as low a cost as we can to our community. And I think that's it. I think I covered all the things I wanted to bring up.
Thank you, Chief Wilhelm. Are there any questions for him?
No, but I just want to tell him how nice we had a nice time at the annual dinner, and thank you so much for the invitation. And I look forward to whatever we need to do to get these new part-timers up and running. So whenever Greg sends out that doodle poll, we'll be ready.
Thank you.
Yes, I would also concur with Ms. Dribbling said. It was amazing to see all of those people, especially people who are just dedicated to serving their communities and making sure that others are healthy and safe. It's really, it's really amazing to see that. And I look forward to being there again next year. I mean, I hope you invite me. You do invite me. I'm just playing with you. Anyway, it was really nice seeing all those service members in one place.
Yeah.
And I hope that we get to a point where we can encourage more people to volunteer and to be a part of our service industry, like our fire departments. It's a hard job. And I know it's worthwhile in your heart, but it's a hard job and we need more people who can do that.
And definitely congratulations to all those who received awards. So very important, and they definitely well deserved.
And on a trivial note, actually, this is the exact day 16 years ago that I was appointed your fire chief.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. I also just want to add that, as a first-time attendee at the dinner, it was very, very enlightening, very exciting to be there to honor just great people who have made such a long-term dedication to the borough and to the fire department. Chief also, for everyone watching, really underscored the importance and the call to action to have folks who are interested in this to please be a part of it. We need people, we need young people There's definitely generational representation needed, I think. So I did hear you loud and clear, Chief, on that call and in making sure that we have folks. So anyone watching this meeting, please know that we are very much in need of volunteer firefighters as a career. It's a wonderful career. There's a reason that these folks have been doing it for so long. And I think that was very well received and heard at the dinner. So I just want to say thank you, Chief, for highlighting that need, but I also want to make sure we echo it in this platform.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all your hard work, and again, congratulations on 16 years. I know you've been with the borough longer than 16 years, but 16 years in this position.
43.
Yeah, 43. How about
As
that?
a volunteer firefighter, I started, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, were you 14? Were you 14 when you started?
I was.
See, started at 14. So we need to get some young folks involved so that they can start and then have a long career doing something like this too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that what is the minimum age for junior fire volunteer?
The age now, excuse me, the age now is 16 in the bylaws of the volunteer fire department.
Got it.
They lowered it at that point for me and one other gentleman who I came up with because his father was in the organization. And then after they experienced us, they raised it back to 16.
All right.
Quick question, Chief. So if anyone who's watching that's interested, they're so motivated by this conversation, how do they get in touch and how do they sign up if they're interested to learn more about volunteer firefighting?
They can come by the fire station anytime online at the swissvallefire.org website. There's a downloadable application that they can fill out and submit. They can reach out to us any way that they'd like to. We'd appreciate that. I don't want to sound like a pessimist. I really hope that we do get some people out of it, but this is a national trend, and it everywhere across the country is facing the same dilemma. We're not sure why it is, but it's a cultural phenomenon that the younger generations are not coming into the service like they used to. And part of the reality is that, and I don't want to scare anybody away, but to get your basic firefighter 1 certification is 188 hours, and it's a major commitment. And so I know that the state fire commissioner who was at our dinner, they're working on trying to change some of the training protocols, which they have implemented this spring. And hopefully they have different levels of training now to try to entice more people to come in. And we're looking forward to that as an option. And we'll see how it works. But everybody's trying everything everywhere in different ways. And we're all trying to come up with new ways. And it's been a very difficult battle, a very, very difficult battle.
Yeah, if you're a firefighter, you don't have to be an accidental hero. You can be an on-purpose hero. They are on-purpose heroes every day. So if you are a hero and you have a heroism in your heart, this is something that you might want to do to get started with.
Here, here. All right, let's move on to item 6C, Public Works, Mr. D'Ambrosio.
Good evening. I'm going to start with the garbage schedule, and then I will go into snow removal. Obviously, garbage was rescheduled for Wednesday. We had to cancel Monday, Tuesday due to the heavy snowfall. So Mondays was picked up today. Going forward, Tuesday and Wednesday will be picked up tomorrow, and Thursday, Friday will be picked up Friday. I know that's a little confusing, but just to recap, Tuesday, Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Friday. And we will be caught up on garbage. Recycling is canceled for the week. Now, getting into snow removal, I know we've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of emails about the delay in the roads being cleared. Now, obviously, we received over 15 inches of snow. We haven't had a snow like that since 2010. Unfortunately, we were short on salt at the time of the snow. This was not just Swissvale. The entire SHACOG, which is about 97 communities, was short. I reached out to Forest Hills, Braddock Hills, Munhall, some of the other communities that we sort of barter with. They were all in the same situation, either really low or out. Compass Minerals, I spoke to them several times over the last few days. Apparently the barges were not getting here. They were stuck on the rivers, too much ice, whatever. We had placed an order December. I still had not received that order until today. I started to receive some of that order today. So when you factor in that high level of snow with lack of salt, we ran out of salt at some point. We were not able to clear the roads as quickly as we normally do. Now we did apply for PEMA, which is basically we borrow salt off of PennDOT. I want to thank Chief Wilhelm for helping us out with that. And we did receive 4 truckloads today of salt, and we are going to be getting more. So we are trying to get caught up as quickly as possible. I got guys out right now salting and plowing, and just asking everyone to be patient, and we are trying to do our best.
Mr. D'Ambrosio, I want to say thank you to you and your crew, because I know that y'all did overtime. I know that you did double shifts. I know that when I was sleeping in my bed, you were out there plowing, because I heard it. I heard you going through the streets, and you had conditions that were horrible. The city still has it. The city of Pittsburgh still has not gotten out of those conditions. And I think every single person out there who realized what a challenge it was to keep our streets clean. We did not have salt. Most of the municipalities around us did not have salt. The salt didn't arrive. The salt was ordered, to be very clear. We had ordered the salt. The salt was not delivered, not only to us, but most of the communities that surround us. Everybody's been struggling. The salt is on a barge, stuck on a river, and it can't get up here. Finally got a delivery. For all the people who have been very patient, I have seen you be patient. I have seen you wait and try to shovel out. I have shoveled out my neighbors. I have seen neighbors shoveling out neighbors. I have seen people being very kind, right? To all of those folks, thank you. Everybody appreciates that. Remember, while we were sleeping in our bed during that horrible snowstorm, most of the places had to close because we couldn't keep up with it. While we were sleeping in our bed, these people had to get out of their beds, get out on the street and plow them with the only tools that they had, so that if there was an emergency, the fire trucks could get to you. If there's an emergency, someone could get to you and you could get out, right? If you were going to call the borough, or you're going to, have any moments of complaints, I understand, right? I understand that you are feeling some kind of way because you couldn't get to go where you wanted to go. I understand. But you also have to understand everybody is a human being, right? You talk to human beings the way you want to be talked to. You do not go cursing human beings out or saying why this hasn't been done. You talk to them the way you want to be talked to, right? The same way you would want me to call your house and say, hey, maybe maybe your dog just got into my yard or something like that. I wouldn't call you and curse you out about it, right? So you need to make sure that you understand this was like a once in 16-year event, right? You have to understand. I was out there today. It is still difficult to get down regular road. Our roads weren't that bad. I tried to get into the city and I was like, oh my God, this is awful, right? Please be aware of that. Please. I know it's so easy to, when you get on a digital platform, to just say whatever you want to say with no filter. Filter yourself. Filter yourself. Remember, these are human beings, right? Someone sacrificed so that they could clean the streets. Please remember that, right? None of these people had to get out of bed. I don't see any of you folks were out there at 3 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning. Nobody was doing that. Freezing cold out there. You stayed in the house and had some hot cocoa. Please remember that. These folks have to get out every single time. They don't get a break. They don't get a snow day, right? They don't get to plow by Zoom. No one's plowing by Zoom, right? We haven't gotten to that point yet, maybe one day, but please be aware of who you're talking to, right? Be kind to our administrative staff, right? Be kind to the people that answer the phone. they in and of themselves can't plow your yard. They can't do anything. They can only take your call politely and say, I understand, right? Take down your name, pass the information on. Please don't curse out our staff. That is inappropriate. You can't do that. We are grown adults up in here. Remember that. If you are over 18 and you are calling the staff because you're having an issue, be a grown adult. I don't want to hear any curse words coming out your mouth. Don't call anybody out of their name because that's wrong, right? We're all dealing with these circumstances. Let's do it as a community and be community minded. Thank you. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all the crew that were out there. I appreciate them. Thank you very much.
Welcome. We appreciate it.
Thanks for that sentiment, Dr. Alfonso Wells. Mr. Grabowski.
Yes, thank you. Echo everyone else's thanks to Jordan and his crew here in Delaware and Westmoreland. I also want to call out my awesome neighbors. We all convened to shovel out each other's car and sidewalks and make sled tracks for the 6-year-old. But I did want to follow up on a couple things that, as everyone knows, it's a real challenge to move all that snow around, and inevitably this being piled up at intersections. And has blocked some sidewalks. I think some folks have just made a path. I've been tempted to go out with a shovel and create a path, but before I did that, I wondered if you have an update on whether, and if so, when some of those piles will be moved, or is it just we have to, is it worth individuals making some pathway between the street and the sidewalk?
Well, I mean, if you want to do that, you can. I mean, unfortunately, usually when we get a snowstorm, we get 5 inches. 2 days later, it's 45 degrees. It starts to melt.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
No.
The next week to 2 weeks, barely above, I don't think we have any days above freezing. So the snow is going to be around for a while.
Right.
So, some of the residents, I've seen them start to dig little pathways between, the sidewalk and the street. Unfortunately, in our, neighborhood, there's not really a lot of places for all this snow to go. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I think the last time we had snow of this depth in 1995, it got to 60 within a couple of days and rained. So then we had other issues of floods and ice
Flooding.
blocks.
Yeah.
Also, the same real estate companies have not shoveled the walks in front of their apartment buildings. My 70-year-old neighbor is the first one out there, and followed by everyone else down my street. But there's 2 or 3 chronic violators who just never touch the snow. Is it worth myself or others filing a formal complaint through your app to at least get them on a list for someone to follow up and bring some violation order or notice?
Yes, we actually started yesterday and focusing on the business district. And our fire marshal, Alyssa Anicetti, who handles that, was off sick today. But her and Mr. Lukac, our quality of, I'm sorry, what is
Public service specialist.
Public service specialist, I'm sorry. They're going to pair up tomorrow and get out and finish working on the business district and then going to the apartment buildings and things like that. So yeah, it's in our agenda. But if you have any particular properties, yeah, feel free to please throw them up on GoGov. They'll go to Alyssa and Mark, and they will go out and address them
Awesome.
if they
Thank
come
you.
in. And one of the things that, and just like Jordan had asked for patience, please be patient. We have 5,000 properties here, and we can't physically go to them all and like that, get everybody to comply. It's a lot of work and a long process, but we are going to do our best
Yeah.
to have as good of an impact as we can.
If nothing else, I think to create a list of, dear apartment owner, every time it snows, we have the same problem with you, even if that you don't get to that for months. By the end of the week, people will have exercised self-help and already created a path. But I still want those same problem apartment owners to still get the same notice that we do expect them to find someone or you hire someone to clear the sidewalk. If my 70-year-old neighbor can do it, I'm in a certain decade, I do it, so can they.
I also want to take the time to thank our DPW, our fire, and our police, because I know all you guys were out there during this tremendous snowstorm. It's important to realize that these are, like you said, Sean, actual people. And as I sat in the warmth, I thought about you guys out there digging and plowing. And social media gives it exturbation to be able to say things that it's just detrimental because they don't understand this is the job that you do. But I do thank you sincerely for all the work that you do. I just wanted to remind people, as I thought about Martin Luther King, and it says the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. In these times, we need to band together as a community and understand this too shall pass. We're going to get through it as one community, but just be patient, remain kind, and remain diligent because these guys are out here working for the best of the community. And again, I just want to say thank you, Mr. D'Ambrosio.
Welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Jeffrey.
Hi. So just want to also mention and echo a lot of the same sentiments. One thing I really appreciated is the neighbors that came together. And as you all may have noticed, I asked the same question to a lot of our candidates today about the future of Swissvale. And almost everyone said the same thing, which was around connection to other people, whether through businesses or neighborhoods or helping others or those kinds of things. So I definitely think that echoes here in the borough and definitely during this snowstorm. So I do want to thank the residents for pitching in and helping out. I also want to recognize the business owners as well that were also affected by this. And I was wondering what are curious around. I know some folks are concerned about like parking and how the streets are right now with the snow being on one side. You know, two-way street has now become a one-way. So just curious if there's any thoughts around that and what we can do about it, since that's a question that's coming up, especially in the business district. I know people are just trying to find parking where they can, but some of the parking is obstructive to traffic, especially with the buses and just how the snow is piled up. I know sometimes we can't go anywhere with that. And then my second question is around how is the progress with the alleyways? I know we wanted to address the main streets first. And also I should say, the day of the snowstorm this weekend, I saw DPW like 6 times. Up and down. Those guys were working. So I definitely commend them. But just wondering about those side streets and maybe difficult to reach areas. How is that coming along? Just for knowledge.
So the parking lanes in the business district, we are working on widening the road so it's easier to park. Unfortunately, when you do that, a lot of the snow does go back onto the sidewalk. So the residents, tenants end up sometimes piling it back on the road. So when the temperature warms up a little bit, we'll be able to sort of downsize those big mounds a lot. And then as far as the alleys, we usually do the mains, the hills, and then the alleys. So right now we actually are focusing on the alleys. I know a lot of residents do have parking in the alleys. We do try to open those up. And that's currently where we're at right now.
I do want to say that you did come by at, or at least a truck came by. It must have been about 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning to shovel out the alley back here. So I know that a truck came by, and I know that the truck was probably coming by so that when the garbage truck tries to get in there, that they have. So we were like, oh God, I hope they're not collecting garbage now. We didn't put it out. But no, I think they were just making that space. So I have seen evidence of it, but I just don't know where all the snow is going. And it's awful because you clean out the way and then here's more snow and there's nothing you can do. But if we can get a good brigade of volunteers together who have some shovels and need to help some people in particular areas, that would be great. I'm calling on, my Buy Nothing folks who I have seen have been very busy with the shovels and going to other people's places and trying to shovel people out. You have to put out the call, but when the call is put out, come and answer it. I'm here to help, and other people are out there trying to dig you out too if you need it. But let people know.
So, Mr. D'Ambrosio, if you put your garbage out on on the side street, is it okay? Like if it's in like an alley?
Yeah, we're trying to get through the alleys. We asked the residents if they can put it in the most visible place possible. I realize there's some mounds of snow. The guys aren't going to be able to go through 2-3 feet of snow every time to get a can of garbage. If you could put it in the most visible spot, and we can grab it.
Can I just mention two things really quickly? One, if they're ever watching this meeting, but there are two young men from Woodstock that walked around on Monday with 2 shovels helping folks out. So shout out to them. Shout out to Woodstock. We're here. Also wanted to get a more so from Chief Wilhelm. What is just so folks know, especially business owners, the process for the code enforcement with the snow? Is it like a warning first, or is there a citation with a penalty first? How does that work? Just so folks are aware.
We generally go out and put a courtesy violation notice first and ask them to comply. If they don't comply, then they get a citation. Unfortunately, by the time we have a court hearing, the snow's all gone. And, it's kind of that vicious cycle that we experience. But most people generally try to comply the best they can. And I understand there's certain circumstances too, especially there's people that have health conditions and other things that can't, and we understand those things, and we're just trying to do our job, trying to keep the community safe. The reality is people slip and fall if it's not cleared out properly, and people get injured. So it's a public safety issue, and we try to focus on that and just be nice and educate the people and try to get compliance. But if we get a list of people like Barb was talking about that just don't do it, we'll take action against them and follow up with them in some other ways that we can. But the ordinance generally says that you're supposed to have your sidewalk cleared within 24 hours after the snowfall stops. Generally, when you get 3 or 4 inches, that's okay. But when you get 12 to 15 inches, that's a whole other animal. We're all going to be battling this for weeks. The only saving grace is Valentine's Day weekend. It's going to be in the 40s and 50s. It's going to be 2 weeks away. But like you said, please be patient, be compassionate, have some grace. That's the biggest thing. Try to have some grace, and just we'll try to get through this together.
And this is Kevin. I just want to reiterate what a lot of folks are saying, and I'm not going to repeat it all. Jordan, I think you and your team did the best of job in the worst of circumstances, and I applaud you and thank you for taking the calls and the emails being forwarded to you and continuing to plow ahead, literally.
Yeah.
I had to do that. I do want to reiterate something, and this is extremely important, and someone can speak to this, Chief Watson or whomever else. Clear your cars off before you drive. DPW can go and clean a road perfectly. You drive along, and your minivan, my truck, or something else, that whole snow on the top ends back out in the street. And that is actually against the law, right, Chief?
It's a violation, and actually taking it further, it's not because it ends up on the street. It's because it ends up on other vehicles' windshields and causes obstructions, and it makes it dangerous to drive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are trying to be understanding about all the issues related to such heavy snowfall, but at some point, people have a responsibility to make sure they're meeting the law as far as that goes. Especially with something that could be dangerous with that much snow. It could injure a pedestrian, or, or cause an accident with the vehicles around. So,
right.
Very
I mean,
good
if
point.
you can't see out your back window, stop for a minute. Everybody else can see you. You're the guy that could be putting other people in danger, but also undoing the work that Jordan and his team, as Dr. Alfonso Wells said, were working 36 hours at a time and doing the best they could in the worst of circumstances. So I'm glad to see the salt back out there, and thank you, Jordan, for your patience with us as we were forwarding on what we were hearing on our side. So thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jordan. Let's move on to the borough manager, Mr. Batchy.
Thank you, sir. Not to belabor the snow much longer, but I do want to say thanks to Jordan too. Seen him every day this week. He seems very stressed. And I understand why. I did that job for a number of years before here and other places before he had the job. And I understand I never had to deal with, as public works director, this volume of snow in my career. So, it is commendable what he and the crew have done. I thank the guys for being out there and leaving their families home, and coming out here for, 8, 10, 12, 16 hours at a clip. To keep the road safe for the residents. So great job, Jordan. Great job, guys. Everybody that was out there, we really appreciate your efforts. On that note, I would like to ask council to consider declaring a state of emergency in the event that there are funds available for reimbursement for overtime or any other expenses. We went through a number of plow blades. We went through a number of other, we had some mechanical failures throughout that. There may be funds available for that. Probably not, but if we don't declare a state of emergency, we probably won't be eligible. And what I would suggest doing is I could draft one for the mayor to sign tomorrow, with the state of emergency beginning on Sunday. And then council could ratify that at next Wednesday's meeting and extend that to whatever date we feel is appropriate. So if there are funds available, we can access those. We did get some salt from that actually came from the Turnpike Commission. This went through Allegheny County Emergency Management to Pennsylvania Emergency Management to PennDOT to the Turnpike. And they, but there was actually an application process, and they had to make a decision on it, which they made the decision today. And we were able to procure the salt from them, and plus some from Compass Materials. So, but if council's amenable to that, I will draft that for the mayor to get the mayor's signature tomorrow. Is that?
Can we retroactively to last Sunday, or is it this Sunday?
Last Sunday.
Oh yeah, I'm game. I was going to ask what the difference was between the mayor being able to do it and do we have to?
The mayor can do to declare a state of emergency, and then council at the next regular meeting you can either let it go or you can extend it.
Got it. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Greg.
Sure thing.
Thank you. And I did read that a few other boroughs have done the same.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a number of them. The state did it, the city did it. So, like I said, just it gives us possibly gives us some funds if they're available. Next thing, as I mentioned earlier, we did get a grant from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for $150,600 to begin renovations at Memorial Park. The Recreation Committee, we did a few meetings last year, drafted some long range plans for Memorial Park, and we decided to start at the upper park right at Church Street, because that's what you see when you come in. And we started up there with the renovations, and we'll work our way down the hill. So what these funds will do is put new play structures in, put a rubberized surface underneath these. It's a maintenance-free surface with no weeds growing up through it, no mulch, nothing. replace the pavilion that's there, put a parking lot in, like 6 or 7 space parking lot when you turn in on the right side, replace the sidewalk across the frontage of the property, and also provide new guide rail and sidewalk along the play structure. This is a matching grant, so we do need to find another grant for 150,000 or close to it, and try to fund the remainder, so we can maximize this DCNR grant. Next piece, good news. We received a $700,000 Commonwealth Financing Authority Multimodal Fund grant, thanks to the efforts of Senator Costa and Representative Salisbury. They were able to get that funded for us. So I met with Bob Ziskow, our engineer, on Tuesday to finalize the plans for last Monday, to finalize the plans for the section between the streetscape between Denniston Avenue and Florence Street. And then Monday afternoon, I got a call from Jay Costa, and he said we'll be funding the next phase for $700,000. So we didn't put that out to bid. We're going to hold off, but bid it as one project so that we can hopefully get a better, better cost based on the larger project. So we're going to start the design of that. We'll be back with the Recreation Committee. That this will underground all the utilities in front of the Sherman block, and provide the new lights, street trees, handicap ramps where they're needed, some crosswalks. There's a couple bump outs designed there, like where that mid-block crosswalk is on Monongahela from the Sherman block over the shopping center, to shorten that distance so that it's a shorter walk to make it safer. Also slow the traffic down through there, and a few other amenities there. So we'll be putting that out hopefully in the later in the spring. Because that was a nice surprise, and luckily we didn't put it out yet, so we didn't have to bid this twice and get 2 contractors. It'll all be one contractor. Woodland Hills School District, we got a request today for them to use the baseball field at Memorial Park. They have done this the last 2 years. They've requested the use of that field for the middle school baseball and softball programs. And that would be starting, terrible with these papers today. There's a lot of agenda items. I apologize. Oh, sorry, here it is. So that would be starting on February. They're starting early with the practice. Sorry. February 23rd, and they would go, their season ends May 15th. They would be they're requesting to use the fields from 3 to 5:30 p.m. each day, Monday through Friday.
Greg.
Scrap Wilson, who runs the baseball program.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm pretty sure didn't he send in his email 3:30 to 5 o'clock? Because the activity bus usually picks up at 5 o'clock, and 3:30 is usually that's usually the time the middle school.
I'm sorry. I said 3:30 to 3 to 5:30. It's 3:30 to 5.
Great.
Yeah. And then their games are at 4 p.m. when they have home games at the field. So they're requesting permission to use it. They've used it the last 2 years. And Scrap Wilson had sent an email. Scrap, if you don't know, runs the baseball and softball program. He had sent an email a few weeks ago asking permission to have the fields from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. So this won't conflict with the Swissville Youth Baseball Association. So if you are amenable to it, we could make an agenda item and an agenda item for next week, if that's okay.
Do we charge the school district?
We have not charged them in the past, no.
Maybe they can cut our utility bill or some sort of rent up at the school that we're paying them.
Right. Yep.
Just saying.
So put that on for an agenda.
Yes.
Okay. And last thing I have is Washington Street Bridge. As you know, we're in the process of acquiring the property from Mrs. DiNardo for those 2 buildings. Mr. McTiernan's office has conducted the title search, and they are waiting on a lien letter that I talked to the agency today, and they said they should have that out the next day or two, so that to confirm anything owed on those properties. And Mr. McTiernan, do you have an idea how soon we can close on those?
Well, now that if we get those letters, we can move pretty rapidly. And I appreciate you reaching out. Sort of our last, that was going to be what I was going to comment, that that was sort of our last hurdle. And Greg reached out and put a little bit of personal request in with the authority to get those letters. So we'll be able to move with, I don't see anything that would hold us up within the week, next days.
Okay. And the AECom, who is overseeing the project for the Norfolk Southern, they have already applied for the demolition permits, and I believe they've been conditionally issued.
Yes,
so when we take ownership, pardon me?
Yeah, they were issued yesterday.
Good, thank you.
Well, as soon as
I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
As soon as we get the letters, that'll make a big difference. I know they promised.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, as soon as we have ownership, then they are ready to demolish the buildings, and move forward. They have all the steel sitting off site, and also they've been working, just finishing the caps on the, what they can do, until they get those buildings down. So there's progress, slower than what we want, but there is progress moving forward every day on the bridge. And that is all I have for tonight.
Thanks, Mr. Batchy. In terms of the president's report, I'll kind of piggyback on that. I saw a post today on Facebook from the Swiss Home Park page that it looks like the Commercial Street Bridge project was extended an extra week, I think. It's extended until February 13th, weather permitting, because of the storm. It looks like that's going to be closed a little bit longer. I know that affects a number of the residents in the lower, lower portion of Swissvale out here. So wanted to announce that. The only other thing I have, as I said earlier, we will be meeting in executive session following this meeting to discuss matters of personnel. That's all I got. Let's go to the solicitor's report, Mr. McTiernan.
Nothing. I was going to mention the bridge, and I appreciate Mr. Batchy's intervention. We will need to get the seller's signature on the deed, but she's been very cooperative, and anticipate we should be able to bring this to a rapid conclusion. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you. Thank you. Any other new business before we adjourn? Hearing none, I'd welcome a motion to adjourn at 8:41 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good night, folks. Good seeing you.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.